Welcome to Sacred Spaces, Advanced School of Ancestral Communication. This is Queen Carlenia Springer, author of Soul Marked for Life, Nana Ajua's daughter. And I'm also the founder of Project Home Incorporated. And at Project Home, we're doing three things. We are first reconnecting our family with our ancestral heritage, our Afro-Rakanu and Afro-Raikitnu family as the mothers and fathers of humanity. We are restoring our divine connection and we are organically reclaiming our birthright. And so I come to remind us of our identity. And it is, for me, it's very late, and I committed to doing, to sharing or teaching something every day for a few minutes. And so I want to talk about commitment because commitment is when you do things when you don't even feel like doing them anymore. And and this quote has kept me committed for many years to the different things that I have decided to do. And when when my will to do it got weak, this quote would bring me through. It would remind me. And it says, it would remind me that until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. Listen, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise would have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. See, I remember some years ago when I said I was going to do participate in Tony Robbins Basket Brigade, Thanksgiving Basket Brigade. And I was going to get some of my friends together and we would feed 100 families in Washington, D.C. And I was always helping. My friends were always helping in different ways. I didn't think that would be a challenge. I had no idea. And so I had contacted a nonprofit organization in DC and told them that this was what I was going to do and asked them if they had clients that could benefit from this. And so they had their clients, 100 of their clients, put their names, addresses, and phone numbers down to receive a Thanksgiving basket. So it wasn't feeding 100 people, it was 100 families. And I I began to plan what I was going to do. But what I didn't foresee is that my friends, the ones who I was there for when they needed help, when I came to them, they were unavailable for many different reasons. And then I became ill and had to take off of work. I was on short-term disability. And I remember waking up one morning and thinking, oh my God, I am going to fail. Like, all these people are depending on me for Thanksgiving, to receive a Thanksgiving basket. And there's no way I'm going to do this. I'm making like 60% of my pay. How I can't do this on my own. And I remember looking up on my door and what I'm trying to remember the quote because my daughter had a quote on the back of the door, and it was about what was it? It had something to do with burning bridges. I cannot think of it now, but that quote made me understand that even if I did one thing every day, I was taking a step towards that goal. And then this quote, until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. I knew if I could just do one thing a day, then providence, God would move as well. And so that's what I did. It took me a long time to do things, and I had made a list of organizations that I wanted to contact, organizations with youth, and to see if they would join me in volunteering, um, to contribute food to the basket brigade and to pack these baskets. And I can't remember how many organizations I wrote down. I think I wrote down 100 organizations, but out of the 100, about 5 or 6 said yes. And so I still didn't know how many people were going to come. And I began to just do the one thing, one thing a day. Listen, the day of the basket brigade, it was my daughter, my little 6-year-old son at the time, and myself. We arrived at the location at about 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning. And there were so many things to pack. Oh, but I forgot. You know what? I believe this was a Saturday. And the Friday before, I didn't have enough turkeys. I didn't have enough food. I had a lot of a lot of the side dishes, but I didn't have enough turkeys. And as I was dropping my son off to school, my phone rang. This was the day before the brigade. And a gentleman called me and he said, I saw your post. I think I had posted it somewhere on the internet. He said, I saw your post about the Thanksgiving Basket Brigade, and I have been to many of Tony Robbins' seminars, and I've always wanted to do this, but I've never had an opportunity. I can't remember where he lived, but it was a distance away in Virginia. He told me, he said, "What is it that you need? Because I'm going to come with my wife and my son, and I'm bringing my son's entire basketball team along with his coach. And whatever you need, we will get it." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I literally could not believe. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I was telling you, I was doing one thing a day, whether that was one phone call, one conversation, because I literally physically could not move. Um, that Saturday, I don't know where I got the strength from, but my little 6-year-old son, he he took charge as if he was a grown man, began to take the food downstairs. He was like, "Mommy, I'm gonna set this all up. I'm gonna organize it," and he did just that. A good portion of the people we served in DC were Spanish, couldn't speak to them. They were calling, trying to see when their baskets were coming. I didn't even have drivers, but I saw my daughter step in and begin to take phone calls. I had a friend from work, and I didn't even know she spoke Spanish. A young man that I grew up with in church, he came to help. I didn't know he spoke Spanish. And we didn't even have drivers, so I was just going to do that. My friend from church, he drove. I drove, and there were a couple other people that volunteered to drive. But what I saw was, when I gave my all, even though my all was one small thing I could do a day, that day of the basket brigade, it was an overwhelming success. I didn't know how many kids were in those groups that I had contacted, but there was one girls group. They had so many girls in that group. I think they had to come in literally in two waves. There were about 60 of them, and they had to come 30 at a time. So the place where we were in was packed from the front door to the back door, and those kids just jumped in and they began to help to pack the baskets, to organize everything. I couldn't even, people were coming at me and saying, "Oh, what can I do? What can I help with?" And I was in such a state of overwhelm because I didn't have time to think about the different things that people could do. But I saw that when my little son set up and organized those tables, those kids took over and they just began to throw cans and fill baskets and cover the baskets, and literally it was providence moving. And I stood in absolute awe of what commitment would do, because I saw that in my weakest, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in what I considered my weakest point, something in me rose up. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was like something in me rose up and was able to produce this incredibly successful, overwhelmingly successful event that fed 100 families in DC. And it wasn't me by myself. My children were involved, and so many youth groups. There was one youth group that could not come, and they donated brownies, and they bought it from Costco. So they were not divided into packs. They were big boxes, big boxes of brownie mix, and the kids and the mother from the boy that was on the basketball team, they went to 7-Eleven. They used their own money. They bought the little baggies. The kids began to divide the brownies up. They took turns. They decided who was going to write out the the recipe to make the brownies, because it was in that one box. And they got pen and paper and they began to write, boys and girls, those kids from the basketball team. It was absolutely incredible to see that level of organization, and I had no idea how in the world could this come about. So when this said, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness, but concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would have never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. It was a collective effort. It was a massive effort. It was an effort that I, I was, I'm still in awe of it today, because I know how physically, mentally, emotionally weak I was, spiritually weak I was at the time. And yet I saw Mother and Father God move in such a way, move people in such a way that it would have looked as if that was well planned out. And it was well planned out. I just was not the one, even though I was in charge, I was not the one that planned it. And so it showed me in real time what commitment can do. So, whatever it is that you are committed to, I encourage you to not give up, to keep going, even if it is one thing that you can do a day. This is why it's so important to renew our mind. I always take us back to the altar, because that's where our thoughts are altered. That's where our feelings are transmuted. Those feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, depression, abandonment, all of that is transformed. And we can now use that, um, being able to control, harness, and direct it towards our goal, towards our purpose, towards being able to help others and help ourselves live a better and a better quality of life. So I hope you got something from this. Whatever you are committed to, number one, be committed to yourself. And being committed to yourself means being committed to your relationship with Mother and Father God, the forces in nature that they have placed within the system to govern and to guide us, and our spiritually cultivated ancestors and ancestresses that they have placed there to guide us through this life as well. We were never meant to walk through this life alone. We were never meant to try and figure this out alone. And so, as things are, as we are coming back to who Mother, Father, God created us to be, it's so important to be committed and to not release, not let go of that commitment. You know, every time we think of New Year's resolutions, how long do those things last? There's a lack of commitment, right? But when you're committed, there's nothing. You have blinders on, and even if you have to slow walk it, you're not stopping until you reach that finish line. And so I encourage you again to stay the course. Stay the course. Do not give up. Sometimes we have to course correct. That's fine. But stay the course. Ashe.